time, I've got the Springfield Armory PX9109LP, which is the 45 Auto Springfield loaded in black parkerized. Got the sticky note there to cover up my serial number. And the first thing, I've got a lot of positives and a lot of negatives on this gun. First thing I gotta say, when you open up the case, Springfield provides you with this nice little holster here. Sorry, I've got some stuff stored in there. Holster, for starters, which I found to be way too tight fitting. You see, I actually had to take the retention screw completely out of it so that it could be used. And both the holster and the mag holders, which I also found tight, but these are practical. I like these. It's good Springfield included these. This was a waste of time and money. The one thing I don't understand on both of them is this Picatinny rail they've got on top. What is that? They do that with the XD too, and I didn't want to knock the XD because I didn't have one and had no experience with it, so I wasn't going to weigh in on the subject. But now that I own these, I don't know what you would ever attach to a Picatinny rail on a holster or on mag pouches, so I don't know. I think that's just a tactical thing that's from Springfield. Not sure I really approve of it. Alright guys, sorry I forgot to do this during the main video, but like I said, I'm just ad-libbing it, and after I go through the video I realized there's things I've forgotten. Wanted to go over this Springfield holster a little bit more, and why it's good for range use, but not good for carry use. And first and foremost is that there's no lock on this holster. It's not a retention holster. Anyone who comes up behind you without you knowing can draw the gun. Secondly, and why I'm sitting down, I may not be able to demonstrate this perfectly, but because the holster is cut off right here and the bottom of the gun sticks out, this these serrations on the front of the slide here, as well as your front sight, could easily snag clothing if you had to draw in a bind. And that's, I mean, talking sitting at a restaurant, sitting in your car, whatever, your clothes are getting ruffled up and getting back around here. It may or may not catch for me right now in this situation, but I'm not willing to bet my life that this won't snag my clothes or get caught up somehow when I'm trying to draw and defend myself. So that's just my thoughts on why this would be a fine holster for the range or whatever, but not something I would ever trust my life to. But you're not interested in Springfield holsters. If you're watching this video, you're interested in the gun, which is below another layer of foam, which is nice that they protected it. Okay, here I'm just going to take a second real quick to show what the gun looked like when it came from the factory, which was negative. In these first couple pictures you can see that the breech face is pretty worn there and that there's still a brass mark on it, like it's seen some heavy use. After that you can see on the beaver tail there, it's got a little scratch in the finish on it from where it's been pressed so much. The hammer has been worn across the top from the slide coming over top of it, and the trigger has been scratched up a little bit from repeated use. This is to be expected from any gun over time, but it was just a little frustrating that it came from the factory with so much use on it. Also, I didn't get a picture, but in the bore there was a lot of fouling, like they had shot this gun quite a bit and not bothered to clean it up at all. There it is. Gorgeous. Normally, this right here would be the cleaning rod, but I've taken that out, put it in my gun box. Got a Wilson Combat 10-round mag here. I attempted to paint the bottom of it so it would look flush with the gun. We'll talk about that later. Haven't even used this at the range yet, so not talking about that. But here we go. The Springfield loaded. I guess first and foremost, let's see if I can get a way to set this down and show you. I already know the gun's empty and it's already been safety checked once, but go ahead, cock the hammer, drop the mag, and, well, actually, you know what, since the mag's empty, alright, we're safety checked. That little sticky note is supposed to sit there and cover up my serial. But regardless, for starters, the first thing I saw with this gun that really disappointed me was right here, if I can get it to focus, made in Brazil. What? I know Springfield Armory was reopened in the 1970s and is not the original Springfield Armory, but I still thought that they were American-made guns. I haven't heard of anybody having problems with it, or the fact that it's got a lot of injection molded parts in it, but I don't know. I just would have liked to have an American-made 1911. However, what I will say, the other thing before noticing that, what really got to me was the grips. These are Coco Bolo hardwood grips, I'm pretty sure, from Central America. The wood's from Central America. I think they're just gorgeous. They're just look so cool, so classy. This parkerized black finish is nice, looks very classic to me. This is the only part of the gun I've replaced. This is a one-piece, full-length guide rod from Wilson Combat. I replaced that because it originally came with this two-piece guide rod from Springfield, and what I didn't like about it was that you had to have a 5/32 Allen wrench to take the gun down. I just don't believe you should have to have special tools to take your gun down, no matter what gun it is. But from there, let me go ahead and drop the slide on this guy real quick. Drop the hammer too. It's called the Springfield Loaded because it already comes with a lot of the features that most people would want on their 1911. Front slide serrations are one of them. However, I don't think that's necessary. I never use those. I try to keep my hands away from the muzzle of the gun. Just a bad idea. It's got the full-length guide rod in it, which I know is not true to John Moses Browning's design, but you know, it's just one less thing that could go wrong with the gun. You're not going to have any spring hang-ups with the shorter guide rod in there. It's got the skeletonized trigger, which I'll go over later. Has a little bit of creep in it right there, but that's it. After that, gun's going off. 5.5 pound trigger, very nice, very crisp. It's got the well, I guess I'll recock this. It's got the ambidextrous safety on it, so whether you're right-handed or left-handed, you've got your safety control there. Got the lightweight skeletonized delta trigger on it. It's got the extended beaver tail grip there, trying to protect you from hammer bite. And the, well, I guess that is part of the extended grip. It's got the speed bump on there, as a lot of people would call it. Alright, in the video I also forgot to mention, when I was naming all the things that make this a loaded model, that the ejection port here has been lowered and is flared to improve reliability. And it's also had carry bevel treatment, meaning that a lot of the edges here have been rounded off, especially in the back. Rounded off, not sharp edges, so when you're trying to draw the gun, it's less likely to catch on clothing or anything else that might get in your way. The magazine well has been beveled slightly. It's got a flat mainspring housing on it. It does not have the rounded butt. And it is, oh yeah, also it's got these tritium Novak low mount sights, which are, I don't know if I can get the gun to show it or not. Camera. The front sight is serrated. The rear sights are not. It's got this nice model 1911A1 caliber 45 printed on the side of the slide. Very classic, gorgeous looking gun. Got a lot of complaints from other reviews about the two magazines that come with it from Springfield. They are 7-rounders, seem to be welded shut or something at the bottom here. I'm not entirely sure how you'd take these down and clean them. But as you can hear, they're very, well, they're just very creaky. At this point I've got 120 rounds through the gun, 100 of full metal jacket from Winchester, and 20 of hollow points. I think they were Federal Hydroshock. 230 grain for all of it. Not one single failure. Doesn't matter which magazines I used. These ones actually worked completely fine. They're a little bit harder to load. But I also got a Wilson Combat 47D magazine. No failures with any of the three of them. What I like about this, though, is that the follower goes all the way down into the magazine. When I say that the Wilson Combat follower beats the Springfield Armory follower, what I mean is that the Wilson Combat follower folds down in one piece and actually goes down into the magazine where you can't see it. No matter how high or low it gets, it's always going to be properly oriented. The difference is on the Springfield magazine, it's got a higher and a lower portion, and they do not go down inside the magazine. When you're loading this up, it is entirely possible that if it's too far forward, like it is right there, it's going to catch on the outside of the magazine and not get loaded. That can cause problems going either way. As a matter of fact, on the top I've noticed there's even this little bump right here, so that when you're loading the first round, you can use that bump to help push the follower back into the gun to make sure that, or into the magazine, sorry, to make sure that as that follower is going down, it will clear the magazine and you can continue to load. It does have the bump. The Wilson Combat does not, because the Wilson doesn't need it. Very, very easy to strip. I hate taking down Glock mags for cleaning. They're just impossible for me to do. This one is one of the easiest magazines I've ever tried to take apart in my life. Absolutely love it. For testing in the future, like I mentioned earlier, I've also got this Wilson Combat 47D 10-round magazine. And like I was saying, I painted the bottom of that black so that when it's in the gun, you don't have this big silver thing popping out of it. It looks a little bit more flush. In my opinion, my idea, I like that better. It's been a great little shooter. It recoils like a 45, because it is a 45. I actually got, for comparison, I'm sure most of you know this already, but got a 45 caliber bullet on the right there and a 9mm on the left. And you can see these 45s are just huge. Whole lot of fun to shoot though. Love it. Now you got the 45 on the left, 9mm on the right. Big old bullets. The capacity is surprising, only having 7+1. Instead of in my compact Glock, I've still got 13+1, so it feels like a lot less rounds and like you're having to reload a lot more often, which, you know, 10-rounder is a bit of a solution, but still, I don't like my magazines. I don't like magazines that aren't flush with the gun. For carry purposes, it's 45 caliber, so if you hit what you're aiming at, you're going to cause some pretty serious damage. But how much ammunition you take with you is definitely a consideration. If I take one magazine with my Glock, I've got 13+1. If I take one magazine with this, I've got 7+1. So it would take me 3 or 4 magazines with this to match what, well, one magazine in the gun and 2 or 3 extra to match what I would carry with a Glock with one magazine in the gun and one extra magazine. Sorry, like I said, this is ad-libbed. I haven't thought about it. I'm just kind of saying what I think as it comes to my mind. I'm going to turn the camera off for 1 second real quick and show you the triggers on each of these guns. Alright, so for comparison purposes, I've got my Glock 32 here. It's been unloaded and safety checked. Not even a magazine in the well. But to show you the trigger differences that I was talking about earlier, the Glock has creep about that far. Creeps to there, and then from there, if I pull any more, it's going to click and go off. That much creak, click. The Springfield, that's all the creep right there. That much creep, you'll see the hammer go, click. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful trigger. Absolutely love it. Cannot get enough of that trigger. Not that the Glock's is bad, it's just different. It's got a little bit less creep, it's a little bit more crisp. Awesome. Simply awesome. Of course, also just for looks in the comparison, this is the compact model Glock. What Glock calls compact isn't necessarily completely compact, but you can see it's overall, it's just a little bit longer than that compact Glock, just a little bit taller, but the sighting radius is really, really outdone. part of that is because I don't understand. Glock doesn't use the full length of their slide. They put their sights there. Why not put them all the way at the back, Glock? Use that extra 1/4 inch or whatever you got there. Same with this front sight. Mount that all the way forward. You see, Springfield has done a great job mounting their front sight just about as far forward as they can, and absolutely using every last inch mounting that rear sight. These are Trigicon night sights. What I do not like about them, that you're not going to be able to tell here, is that around each sight they've got a little silver ring. And sometimes I find that just a bit too reflective. It kind of glares back in my face and makes it hard to see. Sighting picture is much thinner than the Mepper lights I've got on my Glocks, though. And by thinner, I mean much more precise. See, there's the Trigicons. Here are the Mepper lights. I don't know if I can quite get a side-by-side view or not, but there's that. Got this Blackhawk Serpa in. I'm not going to put the gun in the holster. I have had more troubles with this Serpa than any other in my entire freaking life. They sent it to me in a gunmetal gray, which is a gay color. I don't want anything to do with it. So I sanded it down, painted it black. I think I did a pretty decent job. Whatever. I only painted the outside though, so that shouldn't affect the inside, which I don't know if you can tell or not, is still gunmetal gray, quote, quote. Well, the fit on this thing was so ridiculously tight, I had to take out the retention screw. When I took the retention screw out, this little plastic piece in the middle you see there fell out. And that's necessary to the Serpa design. So I put the screw through the other side here so it wouldn't tighten it, but would just retain the plastic piece. Gun holster works great again. Only thing is, it still fits so tight. After just minor use, see if I can get the camera to focus. Right there, look at that. It's already scratched the finish on this just gorgeous 1911. I can't even put into words without using a lot of expletives how angry I am about that. So, love the Serpa for my Glock. Would not necessarily suggest it for a 1911. Oh yeah, the only other thing I got really are the targets here. This was, you know, my first 50 rounds, so be gentle in the reviews. You see, I'm not used to it, so I'm still shooting low left like most new shooters do. This target was at 7 yards. I think that was 14 shots, 10 shots, I don't know. Then the second target, I tried to move out to 15 yards. That proved to be a bad idea. You can see shooting very low left on this guy. Put a lot of rounds downrange at 15 yards. The range was poorly lit, so I really couldn't see what I was shooting at the body. Moved up to shooting the head and could tell I was hitting low left a whole lot. So I thought I'd just move it back into 7 yards and try to get back on target. But all in all, there's going to be a lot more testing on this guy to come. But very happy with my purchase. Think it's an absolutely gorgeous gun. It will be a great shooter. It already is a good shooter. It's just me that's screwing up, not the gun. So yeah, I think that's all I've got. I've probably blabbered on for long enough, but thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and favorite the video. Could really use that help. And yeah, last time. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Oh god, hey. That was a 40.
Hey. What do you think, assholes? That's it!